Hey you all, my name is Dreamy, and today we're going to be talking about just relationships and friendships and your family as a sex worker and them knowing what you do. I also kind of want to give some insight on my personal experience with my family, my personal experience with my friends, and my personal experience with like potential partners. So just straight off the bat, my family, my whole family, even my grandpa has passed unfortunately, but even my aunt, my uncle, my mom, my sister, my brother, they all know what I do. They're all thankfully accepting of it. When I told my mom and dad, they were not like very happy, but also my parents know the type of person that they raised. They raised me to be not only independent, but also an independent thinker. And they know that I was going to do whatever I wanted with my life and take whatever path that I felt was right for me. And they do respect that. And they also know that I am someone with boundaries. And so if they weren't going to be supportive on this, not that I needed them to be like overwhelming, like excited, but they knew if I wasn't going to be supportive with them on this, that I would then have to establish boundaries with them. And I don't think that is something that my parents wanted to experience within their relationship. My sister is very open-minded, so is my brother. I mean, my brother wasn't like, you know, but I don't think he really like cares. And my sister is someone who is very much believes that like sex work is work, and she was just like, girl, do you pop off? So my grandma and grandpa also were kind of like, okay, it's your life. And my aunt was like that, and my uncle, I think he was a little judgy of it, but I don't really care. That is totally fine. He still loves me, I still love him. And yeah, so that's kind of the grounds of my family. When it comes to my friends, I'm always very open about what I do. I want to know that the people that are coming into my life are people who not only believe that sex work is work, but also just don't really have a problem with it. It's not something that I feel like they need to be like overwhelming talking about, because at the end of the day, this is sex and not everyone wants to openly talk about that, especially when it's like my job and my career. So we've had conversations about what I do. It's not something that we talk about all the time, and yeah, they have no problems with it. I think that it can be a little odd sometimes when you go to like house parties or something where someone random may ask you and there's like a group of people. I will sometimes tell people that I'm a sex worker, and I will sometimes not. Like if it's a more like smaller group of people, I don't mind to say it, but if we're in a big group of people and there's a lot of ears that can pick up on like just this one conversation that I'm having. And it also depends on my mental health and my energy. Like sometimes when you tell people that you're a sex worker, it's just like kind of an exhausting conversation, because they can either get super inappropriate. I don't want to say like super, but it's just kind of like, oh well, what do you do? Like, and it's just like, well, I'm a sex worker. What do you think I do? Like, do you want me to go into detail about it? So I do kind of find that a little bit of an odd question. But I don't ever think that it's fully like malicious, especially when it's coming from a woman. If it's coming from a man, I'm kind of just like, what do you think that I do? But yeah, I usually am pretty upfront about it, especially if I feel safe. I do want to know the people who are kind of judgy of it, because I just will never hang out with them or see them again. And it does kind of make me, like, I thankfully don't have this problem, but like if one of my friends were like really close friends with someone who would judge me for being a sex worker, it would make me look at them differently. So I do think that like the people that you hang around with are kind of like reflections of yourself. So I always do keep that in mind, but thankfully that hasn't happened. And if it has, it's usually been at like a more like bigger social setting, and it's like they know that person because of a person, and it's just like, okay, like I'm at a party right now, I'm not ever gonna see you again, I don't care that you think that of me, and I'm also just not, I'm not gonna talk to you for the rest of the night. But yeah, even if you're around people who know what you do and you don't really feel like having that conversation, it's totally fine. It's not because I have shame in what I do, I just don't really feel like telling a new person about what I do, and possibly them, and like having to deal with their reaction, or any questions that I just don't feel like talking about, especially if I've already had a long day at work and it's the weekend and I'm going out, which that never happens, but it has happened. And so yeah, then I'll just lie and say, oh, I'm a hairstylist, or oh, I bartend, or yeah, I just lie. So now when it comes to like partnerships and like boyfriends, well, that's non-existent. I do find it interesting that sometimes when you first meet people, they'll ask you like, oh, well, do you have a boyfriend? And I find that like an odd question too, because it's like, oh, well, do you have someone in your life that's okay with you doing that? That's what I hear when I like people ask me that. But also, at the end of the day, no man is ever going to tell me, one, what I can and cannot do. No one's ever going to mess with my money like that. And I also would never date I don't want to date a man who doesn't also think that sex work is work, because that is very important, I think, to being a sex worker and being with someone who actually sees your job as a job. Now, when I moved to California, I had wanted to open myself up to dating, and I had 2 experiences with 2 different people. One of them was, I think he kind of liked that I was doing something that was a little off the path, and that I was standing firm in my truth with it, and I do think that he found that attractive, but that situation didn't work out. I had someone else come along who was really nice, but he was someone who was like, yeah, I would have something casual with a sex worker, maybe like possibly kind of like casually date a sex worker. He's like, but I'd never marry one. It's like I would have a hard time taking you seriously. That ended very quickly. He was very nice, but our viewpoints just didn't align. And then I also had someone who was cool with it, but again, it was a very casual situation, so I don't think he was ever taking me seriously just as a woman who had sex with him. He was just looking to get his dick wet, basically. And honestly, since I had sex with him, I was like so triggered, because he made me feel like this small, that I have not had sex since like 2021. I am a solo content creator. I've never created any content with anyone else. Don't let anyone tell you as a sex worker or someone in this industry that you have to collab, especially with men, to be able to make money in this industry, because that is just not true. There's a lot of solo content creators. The 2 I can think of, Miss Being Nasty, love her. You can follow her on Twitter, Instagram, follow her on all the sites. Subscribe to her OF, see how she does it. She does have, I'm pretty sure, I mean, she's been in the industry for a while, and she's very well known in the industry, so I know that she does have boy girl videos, but she is known for doing solo content, specifically like with squirting, and she's had amazing success on that. There's also Peach Jars. She is a Twitch streamer. She also has an OF, and I'm not entirely sure if she has any boy girl videos. I love the way that she runs her free OnlyFans. I think that if you would like to like subscribe just to see the way that she like runs it, I would completely recommend to go do that. It's been a while since I've done that, but I know that I'm pretty sure she's won awards for being a solo content creator. So those are 2 of them. I'll make sure that they're like visually like listed right here so you can see their Twitter @names. But yes, you do not need a man in this industry to make money. You can, when you are building a fan base and a following, they are following and they are enjoying your content because of you. No one else, not because you have a man with you, not because you're working with this other content creator. They subscribed and they are purchasing your content because of you specifically. So don't ever forget that. Like, you are the prize, you are the brand, okay? Now, with that being said, again, I would never let a man tell me what to do with my money and with my job. I would never leave what I'm doing unless it was something that I just felt like I personally did not align with anymore to be in a relationship with a man. If someone comes in personally for me and says I talked about this on stream the other day. Someone was like, well, what if a guy came in, he was very wealthy, and he was like, I will pay for everything if you stop doing sex work. Like, I want to be with you, but I don't want you doing sex work anymore. Now, if that's something you'd be like, oh girl, I'm taking that offer. Okay, pop off. You know, I want you to do whatever you want to do. I personally, that would be a red flag for me, because one, I feel like that person thinks low of sex work just in general. And I'm very passionate about this because it upsets me that it's like 2024 and that this is still a conversation. Like, sex work is fucking work. So if you're just someone who just doesn't believe that, and you feel like you like me as a person, but you feel like what I'm doing is morally wrong, I have a problem with that. And I don't want someone in my life. And I do feel like, to me, that can just be like a form of manipulation as well, because like, why are you asking me to give up something that I've created and worked really hard on so that you can have me in your life? That's a turn off for me. Because if like the roles were reversed, like, I want a partner personally who is walking and standing in their truth, who knows who they are and they fucking stand by it. Just the way that I've had to learn about myself and accept my truth and fucking stand on it. And because I've done that, that's how I've had the success of where I am in my life. Personally, I feel like that. So yeah, and when it also comes to like, okay, Riri, I'm in a relationship and my boyfriend or partner doesn't like that I'm possibly gonna have to make content with someone else. I would look at my partner and be like, that is not my problem. Your jealousy and your feelings towards me being a sex worker are not my problem. And to me, I would have to take a step back from that relationship, because I think that is also another form of manipulation for someone to know that you're a sex worker. Because I am like, I'm very upfront, like, immediately. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste their time. I'm a sex worker. Is that a problem for you? Yes. Bye. Thank you. Wish you well. No. Okay, then we can move forward. So if someone is moving forward and they're like, okay, I want to be in a relationship with you, and they know that you're a sex worker, you all are in a relationship, and it comes to an opportunity for a collaboration comes along, and they are now having problems with that. I'm just like, did you not know what you signed up for when you signed up to date me? Like, you know that I'm a sex worker, you know that possibly this could happen. So the fact that you're now threatening to leave me or make a huge deal out of this is, I think that would just piss me off personally. I think that is something that you have to have like real honest, clear communication when choosing to get in a relationship with someone else, so that they understand their boundaries and they understand your boundaries, and they can decide what is going to be best for them moving forward. So yes, I would not allow someone to then try and gaslight me once we're already in a relationship, saying that I can't make content with other people. I think anyone who's telling you what you can and cannot do is is controlling and manipulative. And when it comes down to like them being jealous, the things that come up with your partner that they will be experiencing, I think it's very honest and like good for them to come towards you and be like, hey, this is what I'm experiencing right now, this is what I'm going through. Because then you could be like, okay, well, how can I support you on that? Like, I want to support you, but also like I am going to continue to make money and choose myself and choose my career and grow in it. But if you're struggling right now, like, what do you need more from me to help ease your mind? Like, do you need stronger communication? Like, do you need like, do we need to create boundaries on what I do tell you and what I don't tell you when it comes to me making content with another person? So I think those are very serious conversations to have, and I think that they can be worked through consistent and clear communication and just the respecting of boundaries there. But at the end of the day, whatever feelings that are coming up for them are rooted in a place that really I don't think has anything to do with you specifically. Is probably rooted from like a past experience that they've had that gets brought up when they hear that you're about to go make content with someone else. And I do think that that is that person, that individual's thing that they have to work through. And you know, you can support them, but at the end of the day, they have to do the work on themselves so that they can show up for you properly and make you feel safe and secure in the relationship as well. Especially with it involving being sexual with other people. So I don't want this video to be too long, but yeah, I just wanted to come out and kind of share my thoughts on that, and to maybe help empower some of you all who are having doubts or in these sticky situations with people, and that way you can come to your own conclusion. There's no judgment at all. If you like disagree with me, like, I want whoever's watching this video, I want you to do what's best for you. And if you want to choose your partner and you're really not that into sex work for your partner to leave, then I want you to have that partner and have the best relationship ever. I don't mean for any judgment to come across, but that is just kind of like my personal opinions that I wanted to share in case any of you all were curious. I also want to say, when it comes to your family and when it comes to friends, like, you do not have to be an advocate. Like, you don't have to advocate for sex work if you don't want to. That is something that you can keep secret, and like no one has to know except for you and your partner, or just like if you're single, just yourself. No one has to know about that. That is not the path that I want to choose for myself. Like, I am a very opinionated person, and I have a I can have a strong personality, so me kind of advocating and normalizing this feels right for me. So you do whatever feels right for you. And at the end of the day, I feel very lucky to be such a, like, I don't want to say super successful because I'm not there yet. But I'm lucky to be living where I'm at. I'm lucky to have what I have. I'm grateful for it. And sex work has been able to offer me that, and I have no shame in it at all. And I want to align with someone who feels the same, not only about their own life and the path that they're walking, but of course about me. I want them to like that I'm someone who doesn't give a fuck about what other people think, and I want them to like that I'm someone who is creating their own path in their own way that feels right for them. So yes, you don't have to advocate. And also, a lot of sex workers are surviving sex workers. A lot of sex workers are nurses just trying to pay their student loans. A lot of sex workers are teachers just trying to keep up with the supplies that the government doesn't fucking provide them for, which I think is bullshit also. Quick story, my mom lives in a small town in Arizona, and I remember not too long ago an article, this would be an article that would come out in this stupid ass small town because I have nothing else to talk about, but there's a teacher there that, which I disagree with this, I just want to say, she started the beginning of her OF video in a student classroom. Not okay. Not okay. And got fired from her job. But the biggest thing that I thought was wild is that the newspaper decided to print a story about this woman not only is that a safety thing, oh, this is gonna piss me off so bad. Not only is it a safety thing, but it's also just like a lack of normalization again with sex work, and they're them just trying to shame this woman. But it pissed me off that the newspaper didn't not even like mention once why this teacher was having to resort to sex work to be able to provide a living for herself. And so just keep that in mind. Like, she was just doing what she felt like she needed to do to make ends meet. And you do not have to tell anybody about what you're doing behind closed doors to make ends meet. This could be forever your little secret, and that is totally okay. Do whatever is within your boundaries. But yeah, I just thought that was absolutely wild. Again, I don't condone the school thing and her just trying to be, you know, creative, but it was just, that's inappropriate. But it just baffled me that this whole article was just about shaming this woman and putting her on blast in a small town. But at the end of the day, I hope that she made a shit ton of money off of that news article, and I'm assuming that someone figured it out because they purchased her content. So it's just like, it's very contradicting, it's very hypocritical. Again, don't condone what she did, but I don't condone the shaming of sex work and the lack of perspective of why she even had to resort to that. So that is what I have. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next week for another video. Bye.